Hi, everybody. Today I'm going to show you what I've been doing all summer as a means to kind of show you the intricacies, I guess, of data entry. So as you can see on my screen, there is my Word document, which is full of links to the various entries that I need to input. And on the right is the Omeka that I started. As you can see, there are 889 current entries, but depending on how the rest of this list goes, will determine how many more I need to add or if it's just editing. So we'll click on one and we'll get started. So here we have a brick from Akkad or Naram-Sin. So the first thing I do is I take these numbers here, which are hopefully already input into my catalog, and I'll check them against the records I've already done in the means to see what we have to work with. So this one is already as an entry, and it is the updated entry, and you can tell because in the non-updated entry, these two will be switched. So this one is fully updated, so I don't need to do anything else to this record. But I'll just run through what I would do if I was going to maybe edit a record. So edit the record here. Dublin Core is the material that has is with every entry, and it's the standard kind of format for an Omeka entry. So these are just the title, the subject, description, creator, source, publisher, date, contributor, rights, relation, format, language, type, identifiers, and coverage. So for the title, there's not, I could get a little more intricate if I wanted to, but for now, I'm just titling it brick. The subject is brick. And I give a brief description, which is usually the dimensions and a quick note about a general description. The creator is unknown because we don't have a name of who's actually who made the resource. So we just kind of put unknown for that. Source is Akkad, which is the place, followed by any kind of extra information I know about this. This brick could be from Naram-Sin or from Shushin, who they have two different kind of rules, two different empires, which means probably the description is fragmentary, so we don't have a name. Louvre is the publisher, and they have their own kind of numbering system for their resources. So I've put those there. The dates, I put the various dates of Naram-Sin and Shushin. So that goes there. The contributor is Jack DeMorgan. He's, in this case, the excavator, and his years of when this could be excavated. The records aren't very put together in the text that I've gone through. So a lot of this is just very vague in general, and kind of based on what the Louvre has for their stuff. The rights, the who owns the resource, that's the Louvre. A related resource is other bricks. Physical medium is the material. Akkadian is the language. Sometimes it'll be other things, but usually for Naram-Sin and Shushin, Akkadian is what I found to be the language. It is a royal title type of work, and identifiers are the numbers that Louvre gives them. So this one has a bunch of numbers, which means it probably is very fragmentary. And then again, who covers the material is the Louvre, and the Department of Oriental Antiquities is their official title. Now we get to stuff that I would put in. So this is just kind of other metadata that I found significant, that goes for almost every object. So it's kind of a mix of textual stuff and physical stuff. In materials, terracotta. The provenance is again kind of unknown. So right, we're putting a cod. Naramsin Chushin is excavated at Susa. Sometimes we'll have even more information, but that's not the case for this one. It's the title, so we have the title of his yeah, and there's no other inscriptions. So we don't have any secondary inscriptions. We don't have any things that were added later. We don't have a CLDI reference link. We don't have images other than what's on the Louvre website. I do share the collection page so that when this is all done, we can kind of go and check information and make sure everything that I have is accurate. We get the dates again. Now this is the most important kind of stuff for these entries. When and who brought the item. Most of the time we don't know, but other ancient names connected to it. This is wrong, so I'd have to correct it here. So it'd be Naram, Sin, or Shu Sin. We don't have any original publications or later publications that are listed. These are things that I would have to go back into my records and find, because the Louvre doesn't have that. And then the last thing I put for every entry is how confident I am in the item. So that means this in this case is an 8. So I know it's an import because neither Naram-Sin or Shushin were active at Susa, but I don't know who brought it to the site. It could have been one of their agents. It could have been someone who just found it. It could have been grouped with another group of imports, but in this case, we don't know. So the next thing I do is put in a file. So every item has a file with the image, and then I go through the tags. And that is a way. And every time I put the accession number that the Louvre gives it, so that way I know that when I can search for that number and it'll pop up. Yeah, so that's basically it, guys. Thanks for going through it with me.